Are you an A2 licence holder and looking for the perfect bike? I may have the solution. This is a Honda CB500F. Now, I have done a full review on this bike, which you can go and check out. There's a link in the description. So if you want full details on it, or the important details on it, go check that out. But this video, I want to focus on why is this a good choice for an A2 rider. Now, the first and obvious reason why it's a good choice for an A2 rider is because it's A2 compliant. I mean, that's sort of the first thing you need it to be. And what do I mean by that? It's a 471cc engine, so it definitely falls under the bracket for an A2 license. And the power output is 47 brake horsepower, which again is under what it needs to be a compliant A2 bike. So they're sort of the obvious facts as to why this is a good choice. There's a lot of other bikes that are also compliant. So let's not focus so much on the fact that it's got a suitable engine size. Let's focus more on what an A2 rider can get out of this to make their process of getting onto a bigger bike much easier. And I mean, we will start straight back at the engine. So like I said, it's a 47 brake horsepower engine, or 46.9 if you want to be really finickety. It also emits 43 Newton meters of torque at around 7,500 RPM or 7,000 RPM. So also very manageable option. Cheers, mate. Cheers, dude. What a legend. It's a very steep junction to get out of, is that? And what do I mean by the Newton meters of torque? So how quick the bike is going to pull away, how peppy that back wheel is. So is it going to throw you into a power wheelie? No, it's not. Don't worry. This would be really, really difficult to get you into a power wheelie. But is that good for a new rider, for an A2 rider? Of course it is. Because what it means is the power output onto the bike is smooth as butter. It is smooth as cream cheese, yes, crackers, yes. And what you want as a new rider, especially when you're stepping up to a bigger bike than, say, I'm guessing you'll have been riding a 125, you may not have even ridden a 125, it could be your first bike. You want the smooth transitions, you don't want a snatchy throttle, you want a really nice smooth throttle, which is exactly what this gives you. And the fact it's not got that torque is nothing but a good thing, I don't think. But when I say it doesn't have the torque or as much of the power, trust me, if you want it to go quick, it can go quick. So don't underestimate the bike. It is not a 125. It is definitely closer to a 600 than a 125. So you've still got to respect the bike. I mean, you've got to respect any bike. It's just a little bit tamer on the lower end, which is nice for you, which is really nice. Another thing this bike does great is the gearbox. So it's very similar to the engine, to the point of it is just so smooth. I mean, you find this a lot with Hondas. Hondas do great engines, really reliable engines, and they also do very nice smooth gearboxes. So circling back to the engine right quick, I've just mentioned the reliability of the engine. A lot of times young lads or lasses, who knows, who will have an A2 license because they can't get the full license. Simple as that, really. In terms of money, in terms of the amount of money they've got, they're probably not going to be in the best situation. So they're probably not going to want a bike that's unreliable, a bike that breaks a lot, that they need to repair all the time. They're going to want a bike that can work to the bone and will pass that MOT at the end of the year, you know? Which this bike is probably the closest thing you're going to get to reliability and in terms of a bit of a workhorse. We'll squeeze through that gap. Jesus, that was tight. So in terms of cost as well, the bike itself is not going to be expensive. So this one was bought second hand for 3,000 with about 15,000 miles on the clock. Which, I mean, I don't know about you, but that's pretty good. I think you'll struggle to get 125s for much cheaper than that these days. So to get yourself your first big bike for $3,000, not bad at all. Yeah, granted, not all of us have $3,000, and it is probably expensive to some. But I think in the grand scheme of bikes, you're on for a good deal here. Servicing costs, as cheap as you're going to get. Part costs, as cheap as you're going to get. That one's probably up for a little bit of debate, depending on where you buy the parts from, to be honest. That's not ideal. Now, the one thing that people are going to think about, how expensive is it? Is it expensive to fill up? No. You're looking at a tank, a full tank from empty, is about 15.5 litres. Okay? So, I mean, you do the math, you're probably looking at about £20 to fill it. Max. I don't even think it'll take that. I think it's probably about £18 to fill it. And then the fuel efficiency is 80 mile per gallon. On average, of course, if you ride it like a bit of a then you might get a little bit less out of that. Maybe towards 60 mpg, who knows. But in terms of economy wise, yeah, again, great points. It is a good one. Not expensive. A really good one. So, the next thing to mention, what makes it even more manageable, on top of the smooth engine, on top of the smooth gearbox, on top of the low costs, the actual stature of the bike. So he's got a reasonably low seat on this, to the point I'm 5'8", almost 5'9". That hurts me. I'm like this much of 5'9". It's, oh god, it hurts. Jesus, it hurts. I've always thought I was 5'9". Never mind. I'm 5'8", and I can flat foot this bike. My dad is 5'6", or 5'5", I think he's 5'6". No, 5'5". I don't know, he's one or the other, but he's shorter than me by a couple of inches, and this is his bike, so it's more than manageable for him as well. And that's not on tiptoes either, so if you are shorter than 5'5", you'll still be able to manage this bike, you'll still be able to touch the floor. It is a reasonably light bike too, so you're looking at probably a wet weight of around 190 kilos. So in terms of your first big bike, that's not bad at all. It's quite a tight turn this, so we'll reposition. After this, that's my gap. Sexual. Yeah, so 190 kilos, that's pretty manageable. You can manoeuvre that around pretty well. And with the low seat height, you can even manoeuvre it around while you're on the bike, dead easy. So one thing that you want with a bike you're learning on, and you can afford to make sort of mistakes on it, you want a low seat, you want a low centre of gravity. And if a low centre of gravity is what you're after, this has got it. Like I said, it's not front heavy, it's not rear heavy, it is very well balanced, and it is a very low seat height. So in reality, this is sort of the perfect middle ground for practicing on. You're not over at all. You can literally have a straight back while you're practicing, you know, even if you've got this bike and you're practicing your manoeuvres for, say, your Mod 1 or something like that, it's a really good manageable one. Because another thing, that low centre of gravity means that slow moving on the clutch and your rear brake is really manageable, because you keep your balance dead easy. Really, yeah, dead easy. And the confidence that you can gain on something like this, it's very similar to if you stepped up again to try and get your full license and you were doing it, say, on a 650. I learned on a Suzuki Gladius 650, and that's very similar, a very similar stance to this bike, whereas you have a low seat, a low wide seat with a low centre of gravity. And I found it just dead easy to control. You know, Uturns, they're not small bikes, and even U-turns on one of them things were really, really easy. Figure of eights, all these things that you've got to learn how to do, dead easy. So on one of these that's very similar to a bike like that, which a lot of schools will use, they'll want to pick bikes that have lower centres of gravity. Z650, Suzuki Gladius 650s, SV 650, all of these have lower scooped seats, so that you can get a lot of confidence while not being in an uncomfortable position. A stress position! So you can chill out, pass your test first time, then go get fucking R1, bitch. Alright, calm down. So like I said, if you are an A2 rider, you try to debate what bike to get, I would hands down, no doubt about it, say if you go and get one of these, you'll become a better rider instantly. And you will really enjoy it. It has got the power to, you know, it overtake, things like that. It's got all that. It's got all that. They're the standard things that you want from a big bike, and it has got it. It doesn't have extra electronics, all confusing shit like that. It's as is, take it or leave it, and go blast it around and learn. And have fun, because there's no better than getting your next bike and stepping up. It's a strange one in the UK, because the way the biking system works, you just want to keep progressing, but you can't, because age limits that. I was fortunate enough that I did my tests when I was 25. That's when I got into biking. I'm 26 now, so it's not like I've been into biking long. I found it so good that I could just jump straight in, CBT theory, mod 1, mod 2, and then I can ride anything unrestricted. But for the people, for the young uns, like sort of coming up through the different tests, the different levels to what you're allowed to ride, I bet it's so frustrating, because you'll get skilled on a bike, and then they won't be letting you upgrade, even though you feel like you can upgrade. I get why they do it, I do get why they do it, and it probably does help in the masses, but individually it's annoying, isn't it? It's so annoying. But like I said, if you want a bike that's not going to give you that frustration, that will make you feel like, oh my god, I've finally stepped up, this is a great option. If you're not into the naked styling, there is a CB500X, which is an adventure bike styling, which is the exact same dimensions really as this. And then if you're a sporty guy, there's a CBR500R, which again, same chassis, same engine, same gearbox, just with fairings, and I think a slightly different seating position, maybe a little bit more committed, but nothing major. It's still very upright. It's got all the styling options. Unless you want a cruiser, then you're screwed. But get a Harley, I don't know, you might have a lot of money. I don't care. No, I do care. Much love. Let me know what you get. If you're an A2 rider, let me know what you get, or what you ride as an A2 rider and what you think of it. I know people are big fans of the Ninja 400. And it does look like a beautiful bike, but cost-wise, you're looking at probably £4,500, £5 grand for a decent one to start with, because they're still a fairly new bike, aren't they? Yamaha R3, again, very good option. But I stand with my comment. I think the CB500F is the go-to if you are on an A2 licence. I really do. So anyway, I hope that eased your dilemma about what bike you want, or I hope this gave you an idea of what to get, especially if you're an A2 rider. But even if you're not, even if you're a big bike rider, you can still get a lot out of this bike, because it is incredibly flickable. You can thoroughly enjoy it, like I am. You know, I've got a 600 with a 102 brake horsepower, but I can really appreciate this. Likewise with 125s, I can really appreciate 125s. Naughty, 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 I've got that on camera, you running red light, do I report you? Don't do that as an A2 guy, you'll lose your licence. Or am I really that much of a dick? He only run it by a metre, I suppose. No, let's get him! So yeah, if you've enjoyed this vid, please drop a like, drop a comment. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel. It helps so much, and every single subscriber I get, it gives me a little boost. I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. It motivates me to do more. Hopefully I can get my hands on a few more bikes to test out and do more of these reviews, especially reviews for options for like people on a CBT, people on a A2. Thanks for watching. Good luck on your tests if you've got them upcoming, and good luck on bike shopping. Much love from the Pudling, the Puds, chubby boy that is me. Yes, sexual. And if you need any evidence of how quick it is, ready?